At nightfall, monstrous creatures born from the cursed souls of the angry dead would rise from their unmarked grave and stalk the streets of Kempele. Once, the village of Kempele was a beacon of peace and prosperity. Nestled amongst lush, fertile lands, its people thrived, living simple but joyful lives, sustained by bountiful harvests and an unbreakable sense of community. At the heart of this harmonious village was Chief Olukun, a wise and just leader whose wisdom guided the people with fairness and compassion. Under his rule, Kempele flourished, becoming known far and wide as a place where tranquility reigned and its residents lived in harmony with the land and one another. However, this peaceful existence shattered one fateful day after a bitter conflict arose between the chief and Mama Iya, a powerful witch who lived on the outskirts of the village. Known for her mysterious ways and potent magic, Mama Iya had long been respected but also feared. When a disagreement with Chief Olokun escalated, the village council made the grave decision to exile her. Humiliated and filled with fury, Mama Iya vowed to make Kempele pay for her expulsion. In the depths of her rage, she unleashed a curse upon the village. A curse so dark and malevolent, and it would plague Kempele for generations to come. From that day forward, the once thriving village was clothed in terror. At nightfall, monstrous creatures born from the cursed souls of the angry dead would rise from their unmarked grave and stalk the streets of Kempele. These twisted malevolent beings were known as the Ekunra. They were shadowy figures with glowing red eyes, their forms treating and shifting like smoke in the wind, each one driven by a thirst for vengeance. Their presence transformed the peaceful village into a realm of nightmares. From 8 p.m. until the first light of dawn at 5 a.m., the Ekunra roamed the streets mercilessly, hunting anyone foolish enough to be caught outside. Their echoing cries haunted the village, and the sound of their approach sent chills through even the bravest hearts. For 2 long decades, the people of Kempele lived under the grip of fear, barricading themselves indoors each night, reinforcing their homes with charms and prayers, hoping to keep the monsters at bay. The once lively streets became deserted at dark, and the village that had been known for its laughter and joy now whispered only of survival and dread. As the years passed, the curse tightened its hold, and people of Kempele grew weary. Some believed that only a hero, someone brave enough to confront the wrath of Maia and her army of death, could break the spell. But until that day came, they lived in the shadow of Ekunra, counting down the hours until the dawn would bring the light of safety once more. Amidst the endless shadow that loomed over Kempele, a child was born. A girl named Teni. From the moment she took her first breath, there was something extraordinary about her. A spark of destiny that seemed to shine through the darkness that plagued the village. The night she was born, the moon hung low in the sky and shrouded in the darkness first, casting a foreboding aura over the land. For generations, the villagers had whispered of an ancient prophecy, a chosen one who would be born under the blackest of moons, destined to break the curse that had strangled Kempele for 2 decades. Little did Aduni and Ayo, her loving parents, know that their own daughter would carry the weight of this prophecy. Teni grew up in a village steeped in fear, where the sun was cherished and the night was dreaded. From a young age, her parents, like all the others, sought to protect her from the horrors that roamed the darkness. They warned her of the Ekunra, the nightmarish creatures that haunted after dark and kept her close as the shadows lengthened each evening. But unlike the other children who trembled and hurried indoors as the sun dipped below the horizon, Teni was different. There was a boldness in her, a fearless curiosity that could not be tamed. While her peers were scrambled to secure themselves behind locked doors at the first sign of twilight, Teni would linger at the windows, her wide, wandering eyes fixed on the night beyond. The darkness that so terrified others seemed to call out to her, not with threats, but with whispers of something unknown, something she felt drawn to. Her parents, Adoni and Ayo, were protective, loving her fiercely and doing their best to shield her from the coarse world outside. They told her stories, tales of old that spoke of the curse and the power of the Kunra, urging her to stay safe. Yet, as much as they tried, they could not smother the fire that burned in her heart. Teni felt the pull of her fate, the weight of her destiny, even if she could not yet fully understand it. As the years passed, her connection to the darkness deepened. There was a sense within her, an unshakable belief that her purpose was tied to the night, the very domain of the monsters that haunted her people. While others trembled in the safety of their homes, Teddy felt a strange kinship with the stars that shone in the black sky and the shadows that stretched across the land like an ancient hands reaching for her. Though she did not speak of it, Teddy knew in her soul that the time would come when she would have to step beyond the safety of her parents' home. It was not just a matter of bravery or defense. It was something greater, something that had been woven into her very being. She was not like the others, and her faith was not to cower in fear of Ekunra, but to face them. One fateful night, when Teni was 16, something happened that would change the course of her life forever. The evening had begun like any other, quiet and routine. Her family had gathered around a small wooden table, sharing a simple dinner. The familiar hum of the conversation filled the room, a soothing balm against the dread that would soon set in with nightfall. As the sun sank below the horizon, her father Ayo rose to lock the doors and seal the windows, ensuring that their home was protected from the horrors that lurked outside. It was a ritual they had repeated every night for as long as Teni could remember. But that night felt different to Teni, as the soft glow of their oil lamps flickered. An unsettling quiet blanketed the village. Then suddenly, the silence was shattered by the eerie, bone-chilling sound of howling echoing through the air, the unmistakable cry of the Ekunra. The creatures were near. Fear spread through the house like wildfire. But instead of retreating into the safety of her room, Teni felt a strange pull towards the window. Her heart pounded in her chest, her skin tingling with both fear and curiosity. Ignoring her parents' warning to stay away from the windows after dark, she crept towards the shuttered opening, her feet moving almost of their own accord. As she reached the window, she cautiously peeled open a corner, of the covering and pressed her face against the cold glass, peering into the night. What she saw on the street of Kempele chilled her to the very core. Moving silently in the shadows were the cross-quick form of the Ekunra, twisted, otherworldly creatures born from the curse. Their bodies were shrouded in darkness, their forms lingering like shadows, but their glowing red eyes burned like the coals in the night. Long clawed fingers extended from their hands, sharp and menacing, and their movements were swift, unnaturally smooth, as if they were glided over the ground rather than walked. They moved like predators, hunting, searching for something or someone. Teni's breath caught in her throat as she watched them, her body frozen in place, torn between fascination and terror. But then something happened that made her blood run cold. One of the creatures, larger and more menacing than the rest, suddenly stopped in its tracks. Its head turned slowly, deliberately, and its fiery red eyes locked onto her window. For a brave heart-stopping moment, Teni felt as if time itself had frozen. The creature's gaze pierced through her eyes, its eyes burning with malevolent intelligence, as if it could sense her presence, as if it knew who she was. Teni's heart raced, her pulse pounding in her ears, and yet she could not look away. She stood transfixed as the creature stared at her, its glowing eyes boring into her soul. Then, just as suddenly as it had stopped, the Ekunra turned away and vanished into the darkness, disappearing as swiftly as it had come. Then Teni stumbled back from the window, her chest heavy with breathless shock. She couldn't understand what had just happened, but she knew that something had changed. That moment had been more than just a chance encounter. It felt like a warning, like a message meant for her alone. That night, her sleep was plagued by vivid, unsettling dreams. In her dreams, she saw the face of the witch, Mama Iya, her features sharp and menacing, her eyes filled with malice. The air around the witch crackled with dark energy, and her laughter echoed through Teni's mind, cold and cruel. "So you are the chosen one, little Teni," the witch voice said. "But you cannot defeat what you do not understand." The words rang out like a challenge, mocking Teni's helplessness. The winds loomed over her, a towering figure of power and darkness, daring Teni to face the curse head on. "You will never stop me," Mama Iya's voice hissed before dissolving into a cloud of smoke. When Teni awoke the next morning, drenched in sweat, her mind was racing. The dream had shaken her to her core, but it had also ignited something within her. The witch's word echoed in her thoughts, but instead of feeling fear, Teni felt something else, a renewed sense of purpose. Mama Iya's tones had only solidified what Teni had known all along. She was the chosen one, and her destiny was to end a cause that had haunted Kempele for 2 decades. But the witch was right. She could not defeat what she did not understand. Teni realized that if she was going to confront the Ekunra and break the curse, she needed to learn more about them, about the dark magic that created them, about the ancient grudge that fueled Mama Iya's wrath. She needed to understand the nature of the cause itself and what had driven the once respected witch to doom an entire village. From that moment on, Teni was filled with fierce determination. She would not cower into the face of the curse, nor would she let fear dictate her fate. She had to be ready, and to do that, she needed knowledge. She knew that her journey was only just beginning, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Mama Iya's cause may have enslaved the village in fear, but Teni would stop at nothing to set them free. Teni sought out the village's elders, particularly old Ada. She had lived through the time before the curse. He told her of Mama Iya, how she had been a healer for the village, but after a terrible disagreement with Chief Olokun, she had turned to dark magic. The elders had begged the chief to show mercy, but he refused, and Mama Iya was cast out. Teni that the only way to defeat the Ekunra was to find Mama Iya's sacred amulet, which was hidden deep within the forbidden forest, a dangerous place said to be filled with traps, wild beasts, and powerful magic. Despite the dangers, Teni set off on her journey with her father's spear and her mother's blessings. She ventured into the forest. Along the way, she encountered fierce animals, enchanted trees that moved to block her path, and illusion designed to confuse and lead her astray. But Teni's resolve never wavered. After days of travel, she finally reached the heart of the forest. There, she found an ancient shrine covered in vines and moss. Inside the shrine, resting on a stone pedestal, was the amulet, glowing blue gem that pulsed with power. The moment Teni touched it, she felt a surge of energy coursing through her veins. She had the power she needed to defeat the Ekunra. When Teni returned to Kempele, the village was buzzing with whispers. Word of her journey had spread, and people were both hopeful and fearful. Some believed she could break the curse, while others were certain it would only bring more disaster. But Teni knew what she had to do. That night, as the sun set, the villagers locked themselves in their homes. Teni prepared for battle. Armed with the sacred amulets and her father's spear, she stepped outside, facing the darkness alone. The Ekunra emerged, their terrifying forms slithering and crawling towards her. Teni held out the amulet, and a blinding light burst forth, momentarily stunning the monsters. But they quickly regrouped, attacking from all sides. Teni fought fiercely, striking down one monster one after the other, but they kept coming. Then, in the midst of the battle, Mama Iya's voice echoed in the air. "You cannot win, Teni. The curse is eternal." But Teni was undeterred. She held the amulet high and shouted, "By the power of the ancestors and the spirit of the land, I command you to break." With these words, the amulet exploded in flash of blue light, engulfing the Ekunra, and they did not come near her any longer. They ran past her and they dissolved their form into dust. The night fell silent. The curse had been broken. When the sun rose the next morning, the villagers emerged from their homes to find Teni standing alone in the village square, victorious. At the first time in 20 years, the people of Kempele would walk outside at night without fear. Chief Olokun, who had grown old during the years of the curse, declared Teni the hero of Kempele and offered her a place of honor among the village elders. But Teni declined, saying, "I did not fight for power or glory. I fought for my people, for freedom and for peace." Kempele was finally free, and the people could rebuild their lives without the shadow of fear hanging over them. Moral lesson: bravery in the face of fear. Teni's courage is a reminder that facing our fears, no matter how terrifying they may seem, is the only way to overcome them. In today's world, we must confront our personal and societal challenges with the same braveness. the power of knowledge and understanding. Teni did not rush into the battle without first learning about the cause and seeking wisdom from the elders. This teaches us that knowledge and preparation are the key to solving even the most complex problems. Finally, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more inspiring stories. Thank you for watching. Bye.